Hi, this is James, also known as Only Zerg. I am coming back with part three. I really thought about all of this and everything for like a good while, and the hero versus villain training really wouldn't change that much. In so that being said, we'll get into the story now. So at the end of the first day, they get their syllabuses and everything. They're hanging out, and Deku, Katsuki, Kirishima kind of hung out like that afternoon. Kirishima had to go home because he forgot to do some chores, and he didn't want to get in trouble and stuff like that. So he went home. Izuku, Katsuki, and Katsuri, the three of them go home as well. So we're going to skip to the heroes versus villains because there really is only a few things that would happen. So basically, because Izuku and Katsuki have been doing all this training and everything, they've pretty much the first semester of UA is kind of remedial for them. Like the first year is sort of remedial because they've already gone through a lot of this training that you would normally do. And so in this, that's why they get they're special transfer students. And Class 1A has 22 students, and Class 1B still has 20 students. And the two seats that were open up with Deku and Bakugo, Izuku and Katsuki, was Kendo and Shinzo. Deku kind of saw Shinzo not performing well, and he found out what Shinzo's quirk was, and he's like, oh, that quirk has a lot of potential. He should definitely be in 1A. So he kind of talked to Principal Nezu, because Nezu has known Deku since he was 9 years old, and he's known Izuku for over 5 years now. And he's come to realize that Izuku has a knack for realizing the potential in someone's quirk, and because Izuku is a huge hero fanboy, and because of the nature of his own quirk, he's had to learn how certain quirks work and stuff because of the bonding and stuff that happens, and his quirk mutating from those permanent bonds. He's had to learn how to train quirks better. So that being said, with Kendo replacing Bakugo and Shinzo replacing Deku, Shinzo in Uraraka is kind of a little shaken by Shinzo because he's still kind of off-putting. But later throughout the series, they'll realize that Shinzo is actually a pretty nice guy. He was born with a non-combat quirk, but as far as being a hero, he very well could be with his quirk, because it is a pretty useful quirk when dealing with villains. So the whole everything's going to pretty much happen the same, except for Kendo is actually going to stay by the bomb with Ida, and Shinzo and Uraraka come up with a plan to actually stealthily find the bomb. And when they do, they find out where the bomb is. Shinzo asks Uraraka to kind of make him weightless so he can climb up along the walls and stuff, because Shinzo's been shown to be an intelligent guy. He just doesn't really have a lot of them directions. And he's they come up with a plan that Shinzo will like hide and then just start talking and get their attention, because Shinzo does explain his quirk to Araka, and Araka explains her quirk to Shinzo. Much to Katsuki's grim, he's like, man, I wish that was me. Like, he's thinking that. So this is the plan that Shinzo and Araka came up with, is that Shinzo would kind of hide, and he would start speaking to them and tell them to like step aside, and at this point Araka would release the gravity and he would just kind of jump down from his hiding spot, and they would just tie up the villains and then just touch the bomb at the same time, while Shinzo ties up the villains in quotation marks. Araka goes to like touch the bomb, and they pretty much do this at the same time. So the villains still lose in this case, and then every other pairing is going to be the same. So not much will change with this. That being said, one thing that does change is with Kendo like having a seat in 1A. Before they do all the training and stuff, you have All Might does is his catchphrase, "I am here, entering the classroom like a hero." And he goes over the same thing, but he also says, when he comes in, he's like, "Oh, hi, young Midoriya. Hi, young Bakugo." And both of them go, "All Might," and kind of nod at him. And like the class is kind of looking at these two like, wait, they know All Might. But when All Might says, "Oh, hi, young Midoriya. Hi, young Bakugo," like, "Oh, hi, young Midoriya, young Bakugo," Kendo thinks like, wait, Midoriya, Bakugo, are these those two? Because Kendo, Izuku, and Katsuki were in the same martial arts classes when they were younger. And she's like, I haven't seen those two since. And then she kind of, she's not 100% sure on it. And eventually, like, she just like, it can't be, but like it's still bothering her. So now we cut to the USJ, and Kendo and like they're all trying to talk to Izuku and Katsuki. And Izuku and Katsuki are kind of like in their own world, but then Kendo kind of walks up to Izuku and like quietly whispers, "It's like, Kuchan, is that you?" And Izuku kind of looks at her and he's like, "Wait, do I know you?" And Izuku kind of like starts talking with her, and like she's like, "Yeah, who all knows about your mother?" Like, and she's kind of whispering this to like Izuku, and he's like, "Well, obviously, like the firecracker over here does, and Kirishima does, but I kind of just don't want it being known, so if you could please not to." And Kendo's like, "You don't have to worry about it. If you don't want to talk to people about it, I won't force you to, but it's great to see that you're doing better, because like he seems lost when like after it happened," in reference to Inko passing and like how she died and everything. And so like they get to the USJ, all the stuff with the Kirigiri and everything happens like normal, up until the point where they get teleported. So Izuku kind of gets teleported with Kendo to like a random location. Katsuki gets teleported to his normal, like where he normally does. And no, we'll say they all get teleported to the same spots that they normally do, and Kendo gets teleported with um, near like the closest range to like she doesn't get teleported. She's one of the few students that's actually not teleported. So Izuku and Katsuki are pretty much going to be okay. And so Katsuki is like within a matter of a few minutes, like Katsuki is actually going around making sure other students are safe and capturing villains and stuff, doing his own thing for a little bit, like basically making sure like his fellow classmates are okay, because Izuku and Katsuki do have special permission if it is a life and death situation that they can act as though they were heroes and like help out. But if a hero's present, like they fall super, they the hero can, if the hero tells them to like knock it off or to like get back, they have to follow the orders. It's not like them having a provisional license. Like it's kind of like it, but like they can only actively help if there's a life and death situation. And with a villain attack like this, Izuku and Katsuki have kind of like, okay, like something's going on, someone can get hurt. So Katsuki's basically been like defending himself and helping other students out. And the whole thing with the boat and everything, it kind of happens a little bit differently. So Izuku gets pulled up on the boat with by Suyu, and Mineta's there too. And he's like, Mineta's freaking out and everything, and Izuku kind of like walks up to him and puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's like, man, come on, calm down. We're training to be heroes. Like, this is something that we're going to have to deal with on pretty much a daily basis sometimes. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we've got this. Like, the teachers are going to help out, and then, well, this probably will be a chance for me to kind of, like, let loose a little bit. And at this point, Suyu and Mineta realize that, yeah, Izuku's powerful, but, like, he's actually a really nice guy. Because, like, this is the first time that he's really talked to anyone besides Katsuki and Kirishima. He normally just keeps to himself. And obviously the first day of school classes and everything. So he's like, you two, like, grab hold. Like, like, Mineta, like, get on my back. So can you, like, grab onto my leg? Just, like, grab onto my torso with your tongue, and then kind of, like, hold yourself in place and jump, because I'm going to jump as well. And then as I jump, I'm going to use another one of my quirk's abilities to do this, and this, and create, like, a whirlpool. And when that happens, Mineta, you use your sticky balls, and as we're jumping, use your quirk and just, like, pretty much put a lot in the water, and it will capture the villains in the water. And since they have a water quirk, they can probably breathe underwater. If not, like, we'll deal with it in that situation. So Izuku kind of just jumps off and lands. And the whole thing with Suyu and about to be touched doesn't really happen, because Izuku kind of, like, jumps back to the entrance. And he drops off Suyu and Mineta, and he's like, 13, we need to get we need to get heroes here. We need like backup. Ida, you need to get out of here and go get All Might or any teachers that you see, that you see on the way back to like Principal Nezu and like All Might. You need to like let them know what's going on. Like, I can make sure that you get out of here. So at this point, like, these blackish these like blackish blood tendrils just start coming out of Izuku's forearms, and like he basically just grabs Ida with one portion of him and then knocks out the door and then just shoves Ida out the USJ. And he's kind of like sitting there, and he's like, you guys need to like get out of here as well. Like 13, are you? And he tells Uraka, Kendo, and like the other student, and Koda, the animal talking guy, he's like, you guys need to get 13 out of here. Like, she's injured, like, and Aizawa like can't be worried about like us students up here and while dealing with all the villains that are down there. And at this point, Kendo's like, but what are you gonna do? And at this point, Deku, Izuku, like, he's like, he starts breathing. And then on the fourth like exhale, he says release, and then he just bulks up. Like, he bulks up, and he's like, I'm gonna go have some fun. And then Kendo's like, well, if you're gonna go down there, I'm going as well. And Izuku's like looking at her and is like, no, like, don't. And he's like, well, you don't have a choice in the matter. We're all training to be heroes, and you and Aizawa can't take on all those villains by themselves. And besides, that one guy over there, like, I don't know, I may be able to use like my quirk to kind of block off some of the villains. And so Iraka and like the others get out of there and try to like move as fast as they can to like get 13 some help outside of the USJ. And at this point, like, they're fighting, and Izuku's like, fine, well, if you're coming, if things get too rough, don't force yourself and take cover. And so Izuku kind of grabs Kendo, and Kendo's like, kind of blushes unbeknownst to like Izuku, because like he's now like 6 inches taller than he normally is, and he has a lot of muscle mass. Like, he has twice the muscle mass. And so he jumps down and he lands next to Aizawa, and he's like, Aizawa, do I have permission to like let loose? And he's like, no, you can't kill. Like, no, you can maim, but you can't kill. And he's like, yeah, Mr. Aizawa. No, he doesn't say Aizawa. He's like, Eraserhead, mind if I join you? And at this point, like, Aizawa like looks at Izuku, and he's like, wait, you called me that? That means... And he's like, yep. And he's like, well, young Midoriya, we've got to make sure the students have gotten out of there. And he's like, done, taken care of. Like, well, at least the ones that were still up on the platform. And if I know Katsuki, he's dealing with the ones that were teleported, because his quirk is actually pretty well suited for searching and rescuing. And Kendo is kind of looking at Izuku and everything, and Aizawa's like, yeah, I kind of read his profile, like, so he can kind of fly. And he's like, yeah. He's like, Matter of fact, that's probably him over there. He's probably having the time of his life, like, just because he's never been able to, like, really let loose and, like, actually fight people. Like, I've always been the one that kind of, like, been tempering, but it's fine. Like, he won't kill anyone. So Kotsky's off doing, like, his own thing, like, helping all the other students, trying to get them into, like, one area so that they can, like, somewhat be safe. And Aizawa was like, well, young Midoriya, if you want to, if you're willing to help, go at it. And so at this point, Kendo has kind of like used her quirk to kind of separate the two groups of villains, and there's like two that she personally deals with, but Aizawa deals with one group, and then Izuku's dealing with the other group, and Izuku's like limiting himself in as far as like his strength that he's putting into his punches and kicks and jabs, and basically like martial arts skills he has. And Kendo's kind of looking at him, and she's like, wow, he's really grown up, and he's kind and so at this point, the K guy, like, for some reason I can't say his name, even though I know his name. Tomura is like, here, warp in the Nomu and everything. And then Izuku, and like, he kind of sees this out of the corner of his eye, and then Tomura, like, tells the Nomu, attack that girl. She's been troublesome. She's the one that seems like the weakest. Get rid of her, and then take out those heroes and everything, because Izuku's like kind of not the size of a kid, and he sort of looks like a hero. And within a split second, the Nomu had like rushed to Kendo, and before Deku could like do anything, the Nomu had like actually knocked, like, rocked Kendo's thing, and she's pretty much laying there on the ground bleeding out. And at this point, Deku's face, just, he really, like, his face starts looking like this, like he's shocked, and he's like, no, not again, not someone else. And so Kiriki, Tomura, and everything just see him walk up, and the Nomu tries to attack him. He grabs the Nomu and just throws the Nomu like into like a wall, into the wall of the USJ. And like, Kendo's like still kind of conscious, but she's bleeding out and everything. And then Izuku just walks over to her, basically like takes like a knife out of his pocket, and I was like, kind of like sees this a little bit, and then like Izuku cuts like his hand, and he places it on her chest, and he basically uses damage transfer redirect on her. And it's a lot of damage, because we'll say that Kendo's like arm and like her bones in like part of her skull and like her shoulder are just like shattered. So it's a lot of damage, and Izuku like is screaming, and he's like, don't die, no one else, no one else. And as he's screaming, it's like he's subconsciously using, like, completely taking all the damage that Kendo is receiving. And then she looks up at him, and he has blood dripping down his face right here. And as you can see, this is Akko 4's drawing. I suggest, if you guys want to, look up this person, because they are a really good artist. And I'm going to try to find out if they do any commissions and stuff. So, because they're really good artists. And then Izuku kind of just turns, like, Kendo looks up, and she just sees Deku all bloodied and everything, and electricity flowing around him, and, like, Izuku is beyond furious. Like, he is going to kill this thing, because he hurt someone that was a friend, he hurt one of his friends and one of his classmates. And the Nomu comes in again, and Deku just takes the hit to the dome and is just staring at this thing. Like, Izuku has subconsciously pumped up One for All to, he's using, like, he's using One for All, holding all, like, at 100%, holding it in his body, and it's hyper, like, it's hyper inflating his regeneration, so he's just healing from the damage, but it's slowly draining his stamina. And he's just looking at this thing, and he's like, you hurt her, you aren't even alive, you're not even human. Because all of his senses had, like, increased, and he's just looking at this thing, and he's like, in that case, I don't need to hold back. And at this point, Katsuki is trying to come, because he knows what that scream is. That means Izuku has lost it, and he's only seen this happen, like, once or twice before, and it was, like, after his mom died, and he's like, oh crap, someone got hurt, and Izuku saw it, he's going to kill someone. And as Katsuki is, like, coming in, he sees Izuku just cocking back and like, getting hit by the Nomu, and he just throws one punch at this thing and, like, rips its arm off. Then, like, he throws another punch and hits one of its legs, so it's like this thing's, like, quartered. And then he is just slowly losing a lot of energy and everything. And then he hits the Nomu again, and, like, tears off, like, basically obliterates the arm again. And he's just going, like, at it, just pounding this thing. And then eventually he passes out between a combination of the stamina drain and the blood loss he had. He just kind of collapses, and at this point, Katsuki has landed and, like, has grabbed him, and then he sees Nomu going after Katsuki again, and then Izuku, like, with the last of his energy, all of a sudden you see these black and blackish blood tendrils surround his arm, and you just hear Izuku's like, not again, you will not hurt them. And at this point he releases a punch that completely eviscerates the Nomu. And at this point, Kirigiri like realizes that they're not going to win, and Tomura's just sitting there. He cheated. He cheated. He cheated. That thing was supposed to kill All Might. He cheated. And before anyone could react, like Kirigiri had teleported himself and Tomura out of there. And at this point, Izuku just completely collapses. And then Katsuki's is asking Mr. Aizawa and Kendo what happened, because Izuku has only shown that much emotion when we were kids, and after, Kendo's I know who you two are. We used to have martial arts class, and then you guys kind of stopped coming in every other day. You guys only came in on the weekends after Shield Maiden passed away. And Katsuki looks at her and is like, wait, you're the girl that kept throwing Izuku. And she's like, yeah, but what's going on with Izuku? And he's like, we'll talk about that. First I need to get him to Recovery Girl. And before he jumps up, and before he gets up, All Might comes there, and at this point, when All Might's getting there, he just sees Izuku completely eviscerating the Nomu, and Kirigiri and Tomura escaping. And after seeing some of the villains seeing what Izuku did to the Nomu, which was designed to kill All Might, they just gave up. They were like, nope, I'm done. If any of these guys are like that kid, I'm done. I don't want any of it. So Izuku wakes up in a hospital bed, and he's like, are they okay? Are they okay? He's freaking out. He has tears in his eyes. And that's when Katsuki walks in. He's like, Izu, it's fine. It's fine. You protected them. You saved them. And I made sure all the people that I could find were helped as well. What happened? Because you're all bloody, and was that your blood? And he's like, I don't know. It's just when I saw her, when I just saw all the blood, and I just saw her, I don't know, something. And Izuku kind of just starts having a mental breakdown, and this is when All Might and Kendo come in, and Kendo kind of walks up to him. He's like, whoa, Izuku, Kuchan, calm down, take a deep breath. I'm okay. You saved me. What did you do? How did you, heal me? And this is where Izuku kind of calms down, and he's still stiffening, and he's like, are you sure? Are you okay? And she's like, I'm fine, but what about you? How did you heal me? And this is where Katsuki kind of explains, because Izuku is still he goes from being in shock to kind of emotionless, and kind of coming into himself, kind of sniffling. And Katsuki kind of explains to her that, one of Izuku's abilities is that he can use his blood, he can mark someone with his blood, and if it's just minor cuts and stuff, he can just use his blood tendrils to mark them. But if it's something where he is absorbing all the he has to do where he's doing damage redirect, where he absorbs all the damage and directs the damage throughout his entire body. Like, he basically took every bit of damage that happened to you and like absorbed it into his own body. And at this point, Kendo is just in shock that, like, how like, she's kind of freaked out, and she's like, so you're saying so you're saying he and Katsuki is like, yeah, like, it's weird and it's hard to get used to. And Kendo's like, that's not it. Like, I was dying. Like, if he didn't do that, I would have died. And he's like, wait, what exactly happened? And Kendo's like, well, like, just like what I just explained to all my, like, Izuku, like I got attacked by the Nomu, and before Izuku, like, could react, like, I got hit, like, the Nomu punched my shoulder and, like, basically shattered, like, I felt it, like, my bones shattered, and then, like, part of my skull, like, was broken, and I don't know, like, now my bones and everything feel weird, like, they just feel weird. And Katsu's like, yeah, that's one of the side effects when he goes overboard like that. It should subside in a couple of days. And so, basically, because none of the students, besides Deku, was, like, seriously hurt, but because of the nature of Deku's quirk, he's going to be fine. He's just completely exhausted because he literally used all of his stamina doing that. Plus with Recovery Girl, like, healing, like, the wounds that his quirk can't heal him for himself, basically giving him a little help to where his quirk will take effect. So with none of the students being hurt or injured, and the fact that the hero, like, one of the heroes was hurt while defending the students, the USJ isn't, like, the media kind of looks at this as kind of a positive light in UA, and everyone's like, wow, they really are training, like, the next generation heroes, and they're serious about it. And like I said, I know this is going a little bit beyond. This will probably be like a 40-minute video. But like I said, with the heroes versus villain, like, I really couldn't think of anything to really do there, because if Deku or Katsuki competed, it just wouldn't be fair. And if they went up against each other, they would probably accidentally destroy a portion of the building. So with that being said, you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your new year.